So hi, my name is Vanessa White Fernandes, and I have an organization called the Hugging Army. And a few months ago, Maria and I, who went to college together many years ago, decided that we wanted to try this endeavor of traveling through Florida, hugging veterans and offering support and love and care to others, and that we wanted to try to do it together. And so we've been, for the last 5 days, traveling throughout Florida, and tonight is the culmination of that here in our Hug a Hero final event. And we're just really excited to offer back to a community that's given so much. It's been a real blessing.
Hi, I'm Maria Malec, and I am a wellness advocate and instructor. Like Vanessa said, we went on this hug tour. It was going to be a simple thing, and then it turned into a benefit for Veterans for Cannabis. And we have just been traveling around, hugging people, making meaningful connections, and bringing awareness to what our suffering comrades go through, and helping them get the medical relief that they deserve. And for those who are looking for more holistic renewal and restoration, that's what we're here for, Veterans for Cannabis. And hopefully through the hugs with Veterans for Cannabis.
How are you doing?
We're gonna
Joshua Linney here with Veterans for Cannabis. Thank everybody for joining us. Thank you to Maria and Vanessa for the hug tour. Thanks to Tom White here at Skipper's Smokehouse for having us. We really appreciate it, letting us raise awareness for PTSD and the need for our veteran community to have that loving touch and maybe even access to medical cannabis.
All right, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I'm a United States Marine Corps combat veteran, 2 tours to Afghanistan, and I'm also a mother of 2 children and 1 on the way. And I would like to take this time and give you a little bit of background information, some details about how life is for a combat veteran diagnosed with PTSD, trying to navigate the VA healthcare system, and also being a mother in 2018, or it's 2019 now. So a little bit about myself is I was never really into cannabis before I joined the Marine Corps. I come from a family of drug addicts and alcoholics, and I just tried to stay away from that type of lifestyle. And I continued to stay in school, and I was planning to go to school to be a nurse. And my first semester in college, someone introduced me to their recruiter. I was thinking about going to the Army, and he said, absolutely not. I will not allow that to happen. I have a Marine Corps recruiter to send you to. And wouldn't you know, I up and left about 2 months later, and I joined the Marine Corps at 18 years old. So I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. That was great. And I did 2 tours in Afghanistan. My job was, probably won't understand, but I'll just say logistics. And I also was a driver for convoys. So I had a good time in the Marine Corps. I was young, and looking back, I had no fear. And looking back now is kind of like, wow, Steph, you could have died multiple times and you were never scared of anything. I did my 4 years in the Marine Corps, got married to an alcoholic, and I got out, and I left the Marine Corps and went straight into an apartment in Chicago. And I was born and raised in Sarasota, Florida, and if anyone knows that area, it is nothing like Chicago, and there's a reason they call it Chirac. I got out of the Marine Corps and got thrown right into a city, into an area that I didn't know anything about. And you can't just take someone from the military and put them out, kind of on the streets. So needless to say, the first 2 years that I got out of the Marine Corps were the most difficult. Well, I'm still trying to recover, but the first 2.5, 3 years, it was multiple hospitalizations. I wasn't adjusting to civilian life. It started with adjustment disorder, general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, throw in some ADHD, and then, the list goes on, depression, bipolar. So I have a long list of diagnoses under my belt, and I actually laugh about it now because that's not who, it doesn't define me. And so my journey when I got out of the Marine Corps was basically in and out of the hospital and off and on pharmaceutical medications for 3 years. And I just felt myself fading. I ended up getting a divorce. I moved back to my hometown. And then one day, I started massage therapy school, and then one day in school, I just said, you know what, I can't take these meds anymore. I was having really bad reactions to the medications. So I kind of quit cold turkey. This is after years of being on different types of medications, mind you, and hospitalizations. So I quit cold turkey, and the people around me were more terrified than I was. Of course, you can't just have someone stop all their medications and expect life to be fine. So I went through the next couple years were pretty dark. And I don't remember when it actually began, but I started to try cannabis again. Like I said, in high school, I never really messed with it, but it's not like I never did it. So I started testing cannabis when I got out a couple years later, and then I started to find relief. And then there were periods in my life where cannabis made things worse and I had to lay off of it. But I will say in the last 4 years, cannabis is what has kept me out of the hospital. I have my Florida State medical marijuana card, and I responsibly use cannabis. And I want to share a little story with you, how we treat our veterans. And this was 2018, I did it again. 2018, December, I admitted myself to the hospital in Tampa, in St. Pete, Bay Pines. And I had just had enough. I was really stressed out. I wasn't sleeping. I'm going to remind you that I'm a mother of 2 children and 1 on the way. And I have 2 sons. One is going to be 3 in April. And then I have a 1-year-old. And that's a handful. But so I found myself in a dark place again in December. And that it had been 4 years since I was last hospitalized. I found myself in a dark place. And my story is cannabis has helped me for so long that I had actually stopped using cannabis because I was pregnant and I thought it was the right thing to do. So I ended up admitting myself to the hospital, and when I got there, I told the doctors, I'm also a grad student and it's my last year. I'm in school for acupuncture and oriental medicine. And I'm going to have another kid. I've had 2 kids in the program already, and I've gone nonstop. That's the Marine Corps stubborn in me. I'm going to finish with my class come hell or high water.
At TrueLeaf, we strive to bring you the relief you need in a product you can trust. Our products are designed to alleviate symptoms associated with serious medical conditions. Are you a true believer?
Good evening. My name is Omar Khayyam Siddiqui. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division for 3 years, where I sustained 2 skull fractures, several herniated discs, torn ligaments, broken bones, and a couple displaced ribs. So since the last 16 years, I've managed to lose 120 pounds to walk again. The doctors never said I would. I've gotten off of 15 different medications, and now all I take is medical cannabis. So honestly, this stuff is healing and curing people. Honestly, just keep toking. Take care.
My name is Sandra Bermudez, And I'm one of thousands of veterans, women veterans, that come back from the battlefield with many medical issues, one being PTSD, chronic pain, and several others. As I battled through the VA system and getting the proper care as I came back with pain, nightmares, and PTSD, I searched for the right answer to get quality of life and relieve my pain. And after several attempts of traditional medication, I was able to find the alternative with CBD. I'm currently a frequent user of CBD, the oil, the Vipe, as well as the lotion, and that has made a huge difference in my life. Thank you.
CR Honey Help. Full spectrum hemp infused honey sticks. Made with 100% US grade A natural wildflower honey. 12 milligrams per stick. Each honey stick holds up to 1 tablespoon. Only 15 calories per honey stick. No artificial colors or ingredients. Kosher certified by the Orthodox Union.
With the cannabis, I said, maybe I should stop because it's the right thing to do and whatnot. And I ended up in the hospital again. So here I am in the hospital, and I tell the doctors that, my life's not going to let up anytime soon. I'll consider pharmaceutical medications. And I asked the psychiatrist, I said, what are the long-term effects, and what are the effects on the fetus? And the psychiatrist told me that it's not really a big deal, and that my son or my baby will be held in the hospital a couple more days due to pulmonary hypertension, but it's not really that big of a deal. And I was thinking in my head, lady, I've had a water birth, and my last birth, I had a healthy delivery at home, and I plan to have another home birth. And I also told the psychiatrist that midway through my last pregnancy, I continued to use cannabis to treat my PTSD symptoms. And I want to emphasize that has been the only thing to help me with my PTSD. All these other medications I was on, the side effects it was terrible. And I'm going to tell you, with cannabis, for me, it's very simple, because it's like let's say the indica and the sativa and then the hybrid. You're feeling a little more anxious, you use the indica. You're feeling like you need a little more pick-me-up, or you need some more energy, I use the sativa. If I'm feeling a balance, I want a mixture of the both, I use my hybrid. And it's that easy. I'm not, no longer am I using the anti-anxiety to take away, the anxiety and the stress or the depression, and then, I'm feeling anxious right now, let me take my Ativan. And the medications I was on before it's insane, like SSRIs, and Steph, you have PTSD, you're hypervigilant, you have ADHD, now we have Adderall, now we have sleeping pills, now we have Ativan. I mean, the list goes on, and cannabis takes the role of all of those drugs combined. And I'm a firm believer in the therapeutic benefits and medicinal benefits of cannabis. And here I am, a mother, a pregnant mother, in the VA psych ward, asking for help and saying, I don't want to take pills, but if I need to use cannabis, I will. And you want to know the moral of the story? This is how we treat our veterans. Is they diagnosed me and they sent me on my way with an open DCF case. Now here you have a mother who is asking for help, reaching out. I'm very conscious and aware of myself and my behaviors. Anyone who talks to me knows, I have a solid head on my shoulders. And then I go to the VA and I tell them about my use with cannabis, and I have my medical marijuana card, and I work part-time at a dispensary. I educate patients on cannabis, the use of cannabis. I had a medical doctor tell me that I don't know which strain of cannabis I'm using, and that it's dangerous. I don't know where I'm getting it from. I had a medical doctor tell me that the withdrawal effects are worse than cocaine. Here I am standing in a mental hospital wearing the gown and the grippy socks, dropping knowledge on these medical professionals. Here I am, I'm wearing that scarlet letter, and I'm standing out and I'm speaking about this because I wholeheartedly believe in its benefits. I believe and its healing qualities. And you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to stand up here as a mother, as a veteran, and pregnant, and tell you that I'm an advocate for cannabis, because if it weren't for cannabis, I'm not sure I'll be here. I felt like I was dying on those medications, you know. And when you have veterans out there reaching out and telling professionals that they want help but they don't want to take the pills, it's amazing. You'll see the professionals just look at each other. They don't know what to do. They really don't know what to do. But for me, you know what they did? They sent me on my way with a DCF case. And I want to tell you, 3 weeks after my hospital visit, I came across an article about postpartum rage. And you know what? That's when I realized that I have been dealing with postpartum depression and anxiety for 3 years, undiagnosed, within the VA medical system. And I will tell you, my last hospital visit, it's textbook case of postpartum depression and anxiety. All of my complaints were about my children. It was about me feeling guilty about complaining about my children. Did you know that there's research out there on women veterans and having PTSD? Did you know the comorbidity rate between PTSD and postpartum depression and anxiety is 58%? Do you want to know how many postpartum analysis I've received in the VA medical system, from the VA medical system? I'm having my third kid. I've received 0 questionnaires. I was in the hospital, suicidal, pregnant. The maternity care coordinator came to visit me, never assessed me. I was never assessed. And you know what the disconnect is? The VA medical facilities they don't take care, they don't have the equipment and resources to take care of the pregnant veterans, so they send them out in the community. You know what happens there is you go out in the community to an OBGYN, and hopefully they can catch something. There's such a disconnect. You have your baby, 6 weeks later, they come and you do a checkup, which is ridiculous. The American Academy of Gynecologists, Obstetrics and Gynecologists are pushing for 2-week visits. But I digress. 6-week postpartum visit, and then you get the check in the box and you're on your way. And guess what? Unless the mother goes to the VA system, she's out of sight, out of mind, dealing with her own issues. And I want to raise awareness. I want to raise awareness for women veterans, for maternity care, for cannabis with PTSD. I advocate for it all because it's the one thing, not the one thing, but it's keeping me through my life. And people look and they say, wow, Steph, you're so strong. How do you do this? And I kind of smirk because I'm like, if you only knew how I get through life. So here I am, spilling my guts to you, telling you how it is from a woman's perspective, combat veteran with PTSD trying to navigate the VA healthcare system and just society in general. I just want to let you know that DCF case was open and closed. We're all good. There's nothing to worry about here. My kids are fine. They're fed. 95 percentile babies. Nothing to worry about here. It just, that DCF case, I want to thank that social worker because she empowered me. She empowered me because I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm doing everything right, and I'm a great mother, and I make great decisions, and I want to let you know that if you're considering it, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's helped more people than not. And I told you I work at a dispensary. I see it all the time. The benefits and the healing qualities and the transformations. Don't even get me started on my friends with the opioid crisis. Whole nother topic. This is just my story. But I'm going to share it, and I want to raise awareness. Thank you.